Step through the shattered looking glass. This is our review of Wonderland's War.
Wonderland's War is a bag-building area control game inspired by the Alice in Wonderland characters, and I was really excited to let these characters duke it out.
Based on everything I saw about it and read online, I was really excited for this, but it kind of let me down. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play.
Wonderland's War is played over 3 rounds, with each round having a tea party phase and a war phase.
During the tea party phase, players will move around the table as they collect tea party cards.
Tea party cards will give players ally chips and other resources, as well as allow them to place units in regions for battle later.
During the war phase, players will battle in regions where they have units.
Players will draw chips from their bags in order to increase their score. The player with the highest score wins the region's points.
Other players can still complete quests or forge chips, depending on their placement on the battle track.
After battling in all of the regions, the board is reset and play continues for 2 more rounds.
After 3 rounds, the player with the most points wins. This has been a very popular game all over social media. The most recent Kickstarter has over 7,000 backers, so I was really excited to get this to the table and play it. I really like Alice in Wonderland. I loved the cartoon growing up. I liked the live action show growing up, so I was really excited about this game. And there's a lot about it that I really do like. We got the basic version, which means cardboard cutouts instead of the little models that they usually have. And for the most part, it still feels like a very deluxe game, even though it's the retail version. It's bag building and there's a lot of pieces that you're going to put into your bag. The artwork is beautiful. That's what you always see on social media. So they really put a lot of good detail into this game.
When we first unboxed it, and even when we were setting it up to play, you can tell it really has like a significant table presence. I love the artwork. I love the dark theme of you grew up as like oh, this is Alice in Wonderland. It's all kitty and, very, very light. But then now this is more dark when we're older and it's like, yeah, let's fight, let's battle. The little meeples are your standard meeples, but just the artwork, the colors, the illustrations, I love it.
This game is played in 2 different phases in each of the 3 rounds. So you have the tea party phase and you have the battle phase, and they're both different sets of mechanics. The tea party phase, you're bag building by collecting cards. So it's kind of like deck building, but you don't keep the cards, you keep the pieces. And all the players are going around the table at a time and you go in order and you choose a card. And every time you go around the table, you can reset some of the empty spots. But you're also collecting these shards of the looking glass, which can either count as points against you or cause negative things happen to you when you're drawing from your bag, different things like that. And then the tea party cards also let you put units in the different areas that you'll need for battling later. So it's very strategic as far as when do you want to get certain elements on the tea party cards. What are you going to do when it's on your turn? Well, I really like that aspect of the game.
One of my favorite mechanics that I love in games is just the asymmetric powers that, you as a player, like what makes you unique? What can you do that others can't, but also not overpowered, right? Like you want to make it fair, and so each character has their own ability, but also, you have to unlock it. You don't just kind of start off right away with some of their really good abilities. And as you proceed, you can also unlock other things too. And I really like that progression and that, okay, maybe I didn't get a good card, but I'll build me. I'll make me stronger then. Maybe that'll help me in my battles later.
In the tea party phase, the cards are pretty even as far as if you don't get a good card, there are other good cards that you can go after. You can just kind of pivot in your strategy. And then in each of the rounds, round 1, round 2, and round 3, the cards get progressively better. So in the first round, you get some good cards, but then in the third round are all the best cards. So you're gonna have all those really good cards that you really wanna get. So I like how it progresses, and you really do feel like you're building and progressively growing. So you're getting stronger as the game goes on. And I like how that works in the tea party phase.
There are some games where if there is a notable last player, let's say someone who's collected a lot of shards, you're like, oh man, this is going to count as negative points against me, like a lot towards the end. I think this game does a good job of trying to mitigate that like sore loser mentality, or like that person who just kind of gives up when they're like, well, there's no hope of me winning, just because there's a lot of different things you can do to just balance it out, like the bad luck or just everyone else is taking the moves that you want. So I guess still bad luck. I think this does a really good job at that, because there were times where I collected a lot of shards and I'm like, oh, fine, reset. But then eventually it did even out where I'm like, oh, not too bad.
So we've been talking a lot about the Tea Party phase, which I really enjoy and I like. Wish it could have been expanded a little bit more and really felt like that building and all that, because once you got into the whole purpose of the bag building, the battle phase, and you got into the 5 regions where you're battling 5 times, it got really boring and really repetitive for me. One battling phase is fun. You get in there, you're pulling your chips out of your bag, you increase on the battle track, you try to outplay somebody to get the highest score so that you can then get the highest score in the region. And even if you don't win the battle track, you can accomplish quests or you can forge chips. So there are things that you can do. In some of your allied chips, you can get different powers in different games depending on which allied deck you go with. However, it's just so repetitive and it's not much better than battle where you're rolling dice. A little bit better with the luck mitigation. So I'm not complaining about the luck. If it's the dice rolling, then I'd be complaining about the dice rolling. I'm just complaining about the repetition factor and the boredom factor. So in each battle, you keep drawing out. It could take a long time. And then you have to do that 5 times. And then once the battling is done, you're like, oh, here's all the points, here where we are. And then you remember that you're gonna have to do that 2 more times. So you have to do each phase 2 more times after that. So there are gonna be 15 battle rounds, assuming that there are units in every region. And even if you're not in that region, you have to sit around while other people battle. Yes, you can wager on it, but you're sitting around while they're just pulling chips out of a bag. That takes up most of the time of the game. In a 3-hour game, it probably takes up 2 of the hours. It becomes very boring and it just didn't really work for me at that point.
Yeah, I think when we battled, like you can tell some people like picked a region and they just stuck to it. So if they have the stranglehold on that, like I was guilty of it. I picked one because I had a goal that said do this in this region. And so I was like, all right, fine, let me just do that. And first round I couldn't do it, second round. And then after second round I was like, well, I'm already here. There's really no point in me like trying to expand to the other regions. So let me just see how this strategy works out. Now that got a little boring because you're right, other people are battling and they're like, okay, ready? You go. All right, now you go. Okay, and they're doing that and you're sitting there like, cool, 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 cool. I like how you can wager, like Kenny said, so I think he's gonna win. And that gives you some benefits too to kind of help you later on. If you were like me and picked just one, then yeah, just watching everyone else have the battle, you're like, oh, nice, nice, nice. I mean, hopefully they're weakening each other and then, you know, I made out in the end, but I didn't.
There's thought to the game, and I understand the battling aspect of the game, and I can see why some people would like it. It's not the game that I thought that it was gonna be, based on the pictures I saw, based on how everyone was raving about it. It's on me. I could have looked a little bit deeper and really kind of figured out what kind of game this is. But now that I know it, I feel like other people should know too, that if you're not into those types of battling games, that's basically what this is. There's a lot of show leading up to it, but when you get down to it, how the actual game plays out, what takes the most amount of time, and how you can actually win at this game is a battle game.
Let's say you did look into it more. Let's go back in the past. You did look into it more and you were like, oh, it's that type of game. Would you have still gotten it?
Based on how popular it is, I would have gotten it to do a review for our channel. However, if it wasn't that popular of a game, but someone recommended it to us, I was like, oh, I'll check it out. When I checked it out, I would have been like, I probably won't play that kind of game. Again, I do like the first half of the game. I like the Tea Party and building. I just didn't like what it was building to.
Yeah, I only asked because I guess I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I love this game. I think I had a lot of fun. Yeah, there were some parts where I had some downtime, but just constantly thinking, you're like, okay, ally, Wonderlandian, build my character. It is a long game, so even though I did like it, I don't know how often I would play it. I mean, especially if Kenny's not liking it that much, I guess I might not be playing it as much.
If Lee doesn't want it, I'm going to sell the game, so.
Overall, I love how you get all this. It's such great value, I think. The artwork is awesome. All the mechanics are all in here that I love. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland, but the dark theme and battling kind of put me closer to loving it more. I'll probably give this game a 7.5.
Overall, there's a lot about this game that I really do like. I love the artwork, I love the theming, I like the first phase with the Tea Party. I just don't really like the battle phase. And I didn't mind it, so probably if it was short, if you had like 1 or 2 regions, you only had to battle so much, then I probably wouldn't mind it as much. However, I can see why people like it. I'm just not one of those people. I'm gonna give the game a 4. And that was our review of Wonderland's War.
What'd you think? Are you ready to get to your wit's end playing this game? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
I'm Kenny. I go party like a board gamer.